You're listening to United We Scan podcast. The views and opinions expressed are not that of the United States Postal Service or the National Rural Letter Carriers Association. If you are in need of assistance pertaining to the rural craft, please contact your local steward or assigned district representative. Thank you.
And welcome back. This is episode 14, take 2. However, Mike wasn't with us Sunday, but he is back with us. Josh will be coming in a little bit late, but we have Mr. James again with us today. Nice to have you back. And, of course, Bill and myself. Mike, I know it's been a rough weekend and a couple days for you, but how are you otherwise?
Today I'm tired and a little bit sore. But yeah, we'll just go with that. Otherwise, I took Bill's beverage suggestion and I'm working on one right now. So
I am putting it on as a completely sober evening again. So this time without the technical difficulties. Those, and I do apologize to the listeners who were like, hey, I'm going to listen to this, and then I get messages going, I get past the intro and there's no sound, and I'm like, oh no. So Josh called me out on the route yesterday and let me know, so I went ahead, and when I had a moment and was pulled over, I unpublished the episode. But yeah, we had a little bit of technical difficulty. We had an awesome 2-hour and 15 hour episode that unfortunately did not have a single thing recorded. So here we are, take 2. And I'm going to introduce James yet again. So hi James, how are you?
Oh, it's a beautiful night tonight. Yesterday was crazy in the office with the volume that we had, and then today it was like nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm on a good day today.
Yeah.
Bill, how's it going, dear?
It comes, it goes, it comes, it goes. It's same shit, same characters, different day. Just, one of those things where I get up in the morning, I pronounce some contractual language, and I go in and piss off management. So it's all good. I live for it.
Right? I know you do. So anyways, what we had started to record and do on Sunday is obviously the big announcement on the whole Wrecs fiasco yet again that came out Saturday. I am going to pull that up and we'll kind of go over it again. For those that don't know, but if you're on any type of social media, I am pretty sure you are well aware of what's going on. Yeah, this will be interesting, to say the least. And I just had it up. Here we go again. So this is what we're looking at. Preliminary route classification changes. Auxiliary routes, current routes, 7,270. With the implementation of Wrecs, they go to 7,301. That's a change, an addition of 31 auxiliary routes. H routes, 3,427, jumping to 13,142, gaining 9,715 H routes. J routes, 5,012, jumping to 11,429, for an additional 6,417. And here's the really sad one. K route, 65,910, dropping to 49,747. That is a loss of 16,163 K routes. That's a grand total of 81,620 routes. Weekly difference, we had those that lost 8 or more hours was 17% of the routes at 13,739. Those that lost 4 to 7 hours, 27% at 22,205. Loss of 3 to 1 hour was 18,252 for 22% of the routes. Only 6% of the routes did not change their weekly evaluation, and that's only 4,958 routes. Now those that did add, we had those that added 1 to 3 hours was 11,000 routes at 14%. 4 to 7 hour gain was 7,052 for only 9%. And those that added 8 or more hours was 4,459 for 5% at 100%. Total there says a total of 81,665. So that is actually 45 route difference between. Did anybody else notice that?
Yeah. Where did they go to?
Those are the routes that were added between the 2018 count and now.
Okay.
Are they the ones in Sonora, California?
No, it's like in my office between these two counts, we added 2 aux routes. So that's where I'm figuring that's where it came from, is adding of routes, adding of actual full routes and auxiliary routes to offices and things like that after the last count.
Okay. Well, you know, it is a difference of 45 routes, though, people. So that's it is what it is at that point. Those are the numbers. So there is a step 4 that has been filed, and an unfair labor practice charge. The step 4, I do believe, has to pertain to them not giving us the information that they have requested several times over the past year. And it was specifically stated that it was supposed to be mutually agreed upon between the two parties, in which obviously if they have not provided us the information, we can't go over it. And I can honestly say I'm pretty sure that 100% of the carriers have not received any preliminary information for their route. So that's where that's coming from.
I know that's true for me.
It's true for me as well. And my office.
It's true for the last 365 days before the mini mail survey that no carrier received any information of the radar reports or any other information regarding to the volumes on their routes. However, some offices were giving radar reports near the end here when they finally became available on the computer system, but even those were messed up. So,
and you can't correlate the day of the receiving the bundled flats to the radar reports. Yes. That's the problem.
Exactly. It has to be a live report of that day's mailings is what it needs to be, and management is unable to do that.
And, even our union has said that these reports are anywhere from 2, 3, 4 days to 2 weeks out. Yep. So how do I, as a carrier, sign a sheet verifying the numbers when you can't even tell me when the numbers originated, where they came from, and what days they correlate to in regards to the mini mail survey?
I will say this about that paper. It said we were only certifying the mini mail survey was the one that they wanted us to sign, was verifying the numbers of the mini mail survey. And if the management was not inputting the numbers and it was not in printed ink from a printer, then they did not input the numbers for you correctly, and therefore you should not have signed that sheet of paper saying that you agree that the numbers are right on there, unless they printed it out like my office did.
And my office actually supplied a daily sheet of the numbers that were counted each day to each route. So I will give her that.
No, our
Wow.
mini mail survey, we never got the daily volume reports.
And that again is another thing you wouldn't sign for, because you are supposed to receive the daily volume reports from your management, and then at the end of the 2 weeks, verify those numbers to the numbers they input on that sheet, and then sign the sheet.
Yeah. Didn't happen, didn't sign.
Yep. So, where do we go from now? Well, of course, April 1st is the day that they say they're going to have the new 4241s out available for us. As we all know, April 1st is April Fool's Day, so let's see if they actually show up.
It'll be interesting.
It will be. I'm running 2 routes again.
Well, so what else is new?
Yeah, back to being the only RCA in the office, yeah.
And I don't know.
Here's your route numbers. The jokes are on you.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you all discussed this on the other day, but with the number of routes going down, do you think that with the mapping and the fine tooth combing of the edit books and 4003s, that some of these routes are dropping simply because the padding has been exposed and purged?
I believe yes.
I do. I also think this falls in line where they say that 70% of the routes no longer have Amazon, and that 66% drop falls into that 70.
Yeah.
And as well as, the 30% that didn't have Amazon at the last count, they got it afterwards. My office is one of those. Kind of falls in line with that 26% that went up.
Yeah.
But people also have to remember the mail volume decrease we've had in the last 5 years.
Yep.
We have not
I had this discussion with my PM.
Yeah, we have not had any type of mail count in 5 years, unless you were one of the rare ones that had a special count. We have not had a mail count in 5 years.
Yeah.
I had this discussion with my manager actually today about this, and we were talking about our office and what's going to happen to our routes. And the main thing that we were talking about is, how has our routes changed between the last mail count and this one? Letters and flats are way down, for sure. But package volumes are either the same or gone up. And for my area especially, house numbers have gone up. We've had expansion in our areas. We had the housing boom going on with multiple builders building neighborhoods in our areas and things like that. And that's one of the reasons my route, before I got into it, got cut, was because they added 2 more neighborhoods onto that route, and those neighborhoods actually put it up over 48, so they had to cut it back. Well, the carrier that was on it was also padding the route too with the edit book, and when I finally got on the route, it was a 43. I got into the edit book and I dropped it to a 41 just with the edit book alone, just getting everything accurate. And that was even before we had talks about going to the Wrecs system and all that stuff. I've been sitting at a 41, 42K since I got on the route. And the volume that I have, I'm working almost my evaluation every day with the volume that I have. So I'm not afraid of my route going down per se because of that. But there are people that had a lot of flats and a lot of letters on their routes that don't have those anymore, but because their last count was when they had those heavy flats, they're going to go down. And there's no argument on that, because their route has been padded by stuff that's no longer there.
And one thing we did touch on that one was with the loss of the FSS, like for Bill for one, when he increased with losing the
Like
FS.
4 hours.
Yeah. I mean, I think for some of those routes it might be a wash.
Yeah, because I'm in that boat too. When I took over my route 3 years ago. It was a 43, and then our office lost FSS also, and then I went up to a 45, and I found the last 42, 41 for my route, and it said it was about 80 or 90 parcels a week, or whatever that number is, and I've been at that pretty much. I've been staying at that number, usually above. I'm usually above that. I mean, with everything being everything with the barcode being recognized as a parcel, I'm way over that. So, I think it might be a wash, or I might lose a couple hours, but. When I transferred to my office, we were heavy Amazon, and then they started delivering in our area, and it's gone down, but we still get a fair amount. We still get a fair amount of Amazon dropped off at our office. So, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a crapshoot.
Yeah,
Well, when you're dealing with shitheads, it's going to be a crapshoot.
Well, I'm going to say this. The carriers that are out there that are on a 44, 45K route and are getting done between 1 and 2 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe 3 on a Monday, are the ones that are going to go down. And it's not because the carrier is so fast or because the carrier is this or that. It's because that route volume has gone down from the last count they had.
Yep.
And I don't mean to be a pessimist to the individuals that are super fast on their route. I know carriers that can do my route 2 hours faster than I do. But at the same time, they're not getting done at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a heavy day. They're getting done at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a heavy day, getting done at 2 o'clock on a light day, and mine's scheduled until a little after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But if I'm getting done at 1 o'clock at my speed that I do, my subs will be getting done at noon on my route, if that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all dependent on the volume that your route has now. One of the things that I saw posted in social media was the credits that you get for delivering things and the mileage between boxes. We used to get paid by the mile, and it was so many minutes per mile.
12.
It was 12 minutes a mile?
Yep.
2.
But if you look at the credits now under Wrecs system, the only one that's under 12 minutes a mile is your deadhead to your first box and from your last box. And that's 9.5 minutes per mile. The rest of them are all over 12 minutes, whether it's the short distance between 2 boxes that are right next to each other, or it's the distance from one box and the next box is a quarter mile away. That one was I believe 16.5 minutes per mile on that one, and the short boxes was like almost 20 minutes per mile for the short boxes.
Yeah, that's, and with that speed matrix thing that they come out with, that also is, and I had to explain that to a coworker of mine as well, is that's doing away with the L status. So there will be no non-L and L status routes anymore.
The language is still there in the contract, on this contract. You're still going to be an L or a non-L route. It just doesn't apply any bonuses to it like it used to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you were an L, which you averaged 12 boxes or more per mile, your box volume factor actually, I think, was down. Whereas...
No, it was up.
Was it higher?
If you were shorter, it was up. It was higher.
Yeah,
your volume factor was higher on a shorter route than on a longer route.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Because I remember all the routes in my office as of right now are L routes except for 2. And that would be my Ox route and the other route in the same zip code as my Ox route, the 93-mile route. Those are the only 2 that are not currently non-L routes. Ben's asking,
and the big one is that loss of FSS is a big one for a lot of routes too. But we're going to go into that right now, like we talked about in the deleted episode. Take 1 of this.
Yes, Bill, go ahead.
We have several. Yeah, Bill. We were talking about in that the take 1 about how you had FSS on your route, and during the last count, you had how many trays compared to what you had just before they took away the FSS?
Yeah, well, in our office, we averaged, my route averaged with 639 boxes, and we would average anywhere from 7 to 12 trays of FSS. By the time we got to the end of FSS, I was, averaging a tray or 2, unless they ran a thick catalog through there, per day. So in working the numbers out at 43 flats a minute, which was our rate for the FSS flats, I needed 182 trays a week to make up the 4 hours that they gave me when they dissolved the FSS from our office. Now,
you're not even getting a tray now, are you?
Well, yeah,
it's bundled flats.
Yeah, they're gone now, and the bundled flats, okay, fine, that makes up for some of them, but I'm only getting bundled flats twice a week, and I'm only getting, 4 to 5 bundles, on a Monday, and then again on a Thursday or Friday.
Yep.
And that's not correlating into 182 trays of FSS.
Well, it's like, the only time we really get bundled flats in my office, I mean, we never had FSS, but our bundled flats we get Friday, Saturday, and Monday. And, I mean, we might get a bundle one other day, Tuesday through Thursday, but mostly it's Friday, Saturday, Mondays when we get the bulk of it.
Yeah, back when I started, we would get 2 Gaylords of bundled flats every day. And now we're down to half a Gaylord at most.
Yeah.
So flats aren't there.
No, they're not. I know we talked about that, how a lot of your periodicals were, you were saying before, James, Sunday, that, a lot of those periodical magazine subscriptions, this is your last printed version. The next one will be, digital.
Digital.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the same with, like, I had a newspaper come every couple of weeks. That would be for every house in both zip codes in my office. Every house in our office would get a newspaper, business and residential, every address. And that newspaper shut down about a month ago. Mm-hmm. And now they're talking about getting rid of the red plums too. That's another loss that we're going to take.
Yeah.
And the mail volume's not there, but package volume, I think, eventually is going to be the ruling factor of everything. And we may just go from delivering just letters and third-class mail, we may just go to everything's got a barcode. If you want it going through the Postal Service, you got to pay for a tracking barcode on it. Because the service that we're stuck providing a service, the service we're providing is government document delivery. That's the main purpose of the post office. We're there to serve papers to people, whether it be court papers, fines, tax documents, things like that. That's our main purpose, is government mailings. And the rest of it just pays the bills.
Yeah. It's one of the things that surprised me when I started working for the post office, is how, especially the business to business mail, is how much business to business stuff is still done with paper checks. Mm-hmm. If you have a business that sends out, if you have businesses that have to pay a lot of bills or do services. I have a couple of folks who run their landscaping or lawn care businesses from their homes, and the amount of mail they get, with folks paying their bills, is, I'll have an inch of mail for them, like, daily. So.
Yep, I've got a couple township treasurers. So when the county treasurers, so when property taxes are due, I'm picking up a lot out of her box to send out because they do it from home, and then everybody's sending them back to her payments. So yeah, stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, a lot of it goes down. I deliver more junk than anything anymore.
Yeah, a lot of people complain about third-class mail, but third-class mail is one of the revenue streams that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I know for a fact that I have some customers that actually enjoy getting the red plums and the weekly ads and things like that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I had my supervisor tell me he was shutting down a box because all I got was third-class mail, and I turned around and told him that's all they get, and they take it. I actually stopped delivering their red plums one day because I thought they're not getting any mail. There must not be anybody there. And then the customer came out and asked me where their weekly ad was. They actually looked forward to getting their weekly ad.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I had a customer on one of my routes that left a note in the box. We haven't gotten the coupons in a while. Are they just still doing them? We don't have. We got M-Sparks, and I noticed today because we only get M-Sparks on the last Tuesday of the month, and only our main zip code gets them. So our two other zip codes don't get them, which is fine by me. But before we were just getting the Advos, but today we actually got the card to go with them. So all the carriers are like, "What do we do with this?" I said, "Are they addressed?" They're like, "Yeah." I looked at it. I said, "That is your." I said, "That's your letter walking sequence." I said, "And your Advos bundles here." I said, "That's your flat box holder." So I had to, explain that to them because they had never really dealt with the marriage mail like that before in my office. I was used to it in my old office. We always had them that way, the card and the Advos. But yeah, it's. I'm interested to see what happens.
Great segue right there.
Yeah.
The other thing that we talked about was PM and I were talking about these evaluations and stuff, and we were talking about, do we think that carriers not inputting their stuff in the scanner hurt them? And for things like the monthly shoppers, monthly advertisements that you get once a month, not a big effect on the evaluations. But your unscanned parcels, your rural reach customer, your stamp stock sales, those affect your evaluation big time. Any scan you can do that's legitimate benefits your route, and those that were doing the minimum 6 scans are going to get the minimum evaluation for their route. And everything you do on top of that adds to it. Even those monthly advos may add a minute or two to your route, but every minute or two you add to it is a benefit to your route.
Yeah, because you're then getting full coverage for that day. And we all know Tuesdays are one of the lightest days of the week, and you want to add that full coverage, let alone double full coverage by having the marriage mail. You want that. And you want to make sure that's inputted.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you want to make sure that every hold that you take out that has more than 8 pieces to it is an unscanned parcel.
Yes.
Yep.
Whether you put it in the mailbox or you take it to the door or any of that stuff doesn't matter. The rules on Wrecs say that an unscanned hold mail that has more than 8 pieces is an unscanned parcel, and that's both coming from the union side and the management training that I got so lucky to get to go to. I got to go to the mini mail survey training for management and listen to that stuff. And they even said any hold mail that's over 8 pieces is an unscanned parcel.
Yeah, Bill and I got to go attend that as well. But yeah, it's, and I went back and I made sure that all my carriers knew you're taking that hold mail back, then that, you got more than 8 pieces in there. And I know plenty of people that get more than 8 pieces on a daily. That's that's an unscanned parcel. You want that credit, definitely.
Yeah. Because we had our weekly shopper used to be put out by the Kansas City newspaper, then they stopped doing it for a couple weeks, and then the main grocery store that was doing it started putting it out on their own, so we got it back. And now what they've been doing is the last couple, at least a couple of times now, some of our other monthly, which would normally be a full coverage, our value mail circular, and there was another one, have been included in it. It's been super thick, like it was today. So we're kind of losing out on a monthly coverage or two. But at the same time, we're still having that weekly. Every route in my office has at least one weekly full coverage, putting out the grocery store ad. And what you were saying before, James, is I've had people when I was an RCA and subbing on other routes. I had a couple of routes where people came up and complained that they didn't get them for some week, and absolutely told me that that's how they plan their shopping that week. And it's like, okay, hey, I have an extra one here that I wasn't delivering. The box is vacant. You can have this one. There you go.
And it's customers like that that make you appreciate delivering that stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I think at least in my office, I think every route has what I call a catalog queen.
Oh yes.
That just seems to get every catalog. One of the routes in our office, I swear, this lady, if there's a day that goes by that she does not get a catalog, it used to be on my matrix. There was just no day that they didn't get some catalog of some stripe.
Mm-hmm.
But normally, it was not unusual to daily deliver her an inch of mail, mostly flats.
I have a guy on my route that's a donation king. Mm-hmm. He gets all those donate to us letters and stuff, and it's literally a handful. He actually has a 2-inch slot in my case just because of how much mail volume he gets.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple.
I have one that was 3 inches.
Hey, Josh, you made it!
Holy crap!
I made it.
I have one, and I was actually Josh and I talked for a while on the route yesterday, and I got to his box, and I was like, all right, now I'm at the box of just keep grabbing the handfuls of DPS until you come up to the end and fish the last few out that don't belong to him, and then put them in the box. And yeah, it was Monday, but that's almost nearly a daily thing for that resident.
When they go on hold, they don't get one of the little hold cubbies. They get their own tub.
Yes. I know a few of those. I think there's at least 1 or 2 on every route I've ran in my office.
Like mine's on hold right now. He's only going to be on hold through the weekend. He's already in a tub. In 2 days, he's already gone bigger than one of my hold boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I got. I've got a section of my route that's it catered. I don't know. In the past, I think it catered to a 55+ community, but I just have people on there who regularly go on hold, and even if it's for a few days, it's like, nope, that's going. It's going in a tub for 2 reasons. One, the volume of mail they'll get in those 3, 4, or 5 days. But two, most of the people in there do do it as they'll pick up the accumulated mail.
Yep, we got quite a few of those too.
And I appreciate those folks a lot. And so, yeah, I'll throw the mail. I just kind of throw the mail in the tub. But when it's getting close to when they're picking it up, I tidy it up. I kind of put the flats on the bottom in some sort of order. Kind of tidy up the letter mail so it's in some kind of it looks kind of neat. But
we have to do that by every Wednesday in my office. All the holds that are still on hold need to be gone through, put in order, and rubber banded every Wednesday.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get miscellaneous time for that?
I have
that part of your
clue.
end of duty?
Yes.
Is that part of your return to DU time?
That is part of the end of shift.
Need to get miscellaneous.
That's part of the
then it is
end of
miscellaneous
shift.
time.
Yeah, end of shift time. Which was actually kind of nice of just having my aux route, because I was finally able to do my update, the couple things I needed update in my edit book today, because this whole past week I ran 2 routes, and so it wasn't my end of shift on my aux, so I was just putting it off on doing that till it was my actual end of shift on my aux. And today was that rare day I was home by 11:30 this morning. And that was after dropping the LLV off at the repair shop to inspect the tire that's got a slow leak, and yeah, I was still home in less than evaluation, so I'll take it.
Yeah, I opted to not touch the marriage mail this morning, so I could get out because there's like nothing. I actually worked everything into my GPS instead of casing it today. I bundled my CBUs. I was back in the office, which included having to circle around to go back to my large company to scan the blue box, because I got there at 10 o'clock and I have to wait till 11 to scan it. So I was back in the office by 1:15. Put up my marriage mail, was in my car by 3:30. Granted, I did take a couple smoke breaks while I was PM casing, but so I was way under for today.
no.
But going back to what things I do remember from when you were going through the numbers of the route classifications, who are gained versus the loss of Ks. Did anyone else take notice that the 16,000 whatever number of Ks we're losing happens to equal the same amount of gains in both J, H, and A's?
Yeah. So
seems
we're looking at
a little coincidental to me that the numbers work out perfectly.
Well, I look at it this way. There are some K routes out there that are small enough to be an aux route. There are some that are small enough to be an H route. There are some that are small enough to be a J route. And I don't think they've even put in the number of people who signed the high option in that either. That could take their K route down to a J, or their now J route down to an H route. So that's the other numbers that we also don't have, is that section.
Right.
But the fact that
you also have the 28% that went up.
The number of the aux routes that we've gained here are now going to be carriers that are going to have no assigned route. Where are we going to put them?
Luckily,
because it says that
it's only
they have
31. But given where that demographic is, I mean, like I mentioned Sunday, that we do have areas in some regions that are posting full-time routes for anybody to apply off the street for. And I think we kind of touched on that, especially with where we're sitting at. If we end up with more people that decide that, you know what, I'm done. I can retire now anyways, I'm done holding now, or, you know what, I'm just done, and they walk off the job. And then you got these routes that bounce back and forth between, and then you don't have RCAs to fill it because they don't have a year in, or you don't have RCAs at all, or they're not even out of probation once it bounces back from district back to the office. And so now they're getting posted for anybody to apply off the street. I think we kind of touched on a little bit of why can't we have I understand the mutual transfer and district-wide bids for regular routes for people to be able to move and transfer. In this case, why can't we put up a national type bid?
Well, I'm looking at this from my office perspective on this. Growing all these aux routes out of K routes is not a good thing. Mm-hmm. But maybe, just maybe, these are in offices that are already shorthanded, mm-hmm. and maybe they can be absorbed into the H and J routes that are there, mm-hmm. and lower the number of routes that are out there, but at the same time increase these other routes to where they're actually back up to a K route. We don't know where or what rhyme or reason we have for all these losses and changes and things like that. But we can surmise that there's going to be stuff that we as rural carriers and as a postal office can do to possibly mitigate this whole scenario of death to the routes that we're getting right now with the losses that we've been seeing posted. There's going to be people that are going to retire from this. There's going to be people who are going to quit because of this. But if we ride this out and we find a way to turn this around to benefit the carriers, then we can actually make a bigger impact overall. Well, I don't think there's a carrier out there. I don't think there's a carrier out there that wouldn't take the time to better their route and help benefit the customers in their areas. Because I think almost everybody that I've talked to that works for the post office does it for two reasons. It's for the money and for the people on their routes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, we touched on that. Well, definitely for the customers. And the benefits, yep. The retirement. And that was kind of brought up by, one of the carriers in my office that has my primary route, not my aux, because I'm a 5-in-1, but my primary, even though I rarely run it anymore. He's like, what if I drop? Because it's only a 43K right now. And it's a 93-mile route. He's one of those long, 470 boxes, 93 miles. So it's a lot of driving. And, his biggest thing is what if I drop so much? I said, well, you can rebuild it off the aux route. And he's like, well, I have to wait, I can't do that right away. I have to wait till the aux route's vacant. Not necessarily.
No.
Nope.
No, even if there's a hold down on it, they can easily just shut that route down and cut it, do whatever they want with it.
Yes.
Because there is not an assigned regular
carrier.
Exactly.
Yep.
Even though I'm a designated 79, I am still an RCA. I said, no. I said, they can rebuild off that aux route. That just moves me back to being a designated 78 again. I said, but they can put that, because that used to be all one route. I said, you can reabsorb the aux route to build it back up. Yep, it's only, it's only 100 more boxes and 17 miles. So it'll give you a few more hours. And that would just make me a 78. You don't have to wait until it's vacated. And I said, if she wants to put up that fight, I said, I'll fight that one for you, tooth and nail. I'm only, I 6 more months and I'll be going regular. So, if I go back down to a designated 78 for a couple months or whatever, so be it. It's not like I'm not running everything in the office as it is right now anyways. Yeah, I mean, his only saving grace, if he does drop a considerable amount, is being able to reabsorb that aux route. And I think, like I said, we were saying before, where you have these offices with these shortages, and if you're going to have these drops, I think a lot of it may just kind of, okay, you're short carriers, you're short RCAs especially, routes are dropping, you got to rebuild them back up. Well, now you're going to kind of try and almost even the playing field just a little bit.
Yeah, if you can take 2 or 3 routes that you're vacant on, cut them up and put them on your 7 routes that you have in your office, that's 3 less regular.
Ooh, you cut it out, James. And we're back. Oops, we had a glitch. Okay, James. Where we left off at.
So as I was saying, you have 3 vacant routes, so that's 3 less carriers, 3 less regular carriers, and 3 less subs that they're forced to hire for the contract. So you're saving the post office money on that. You're saving the number of carriers that we need to hire as well. And on top of that, you're benefiting the routes that have gone down by merging those routes into them. So you're saving money, but also building up the carrier's pay on those other routes. And that's the biggest benefit we can get out of this, is finding the way to merge routes together to build them back up into K routes, which is what we've been losing.
And with that, I'm going to say North Carolina District was supposed to be a test or pilot for the route optimization, to be able to put the routes together with the turn-by-turn and the line of travel, to allow that, for them to place, for situations like that.
And that's why the program was called Rural Route Optimization. That's one of the features they were going to put into it. And then you have the line of travel manager, which allows you to optimize the line of travel they do, so you prevent backtracking and things like that. It was just these 2 programs have more features in them than they actually released in this first update, and they're slowly going to roll them out, probably.
Right. I know that the testing of that has been put to the wayside, at least for now. And then higher headquarters has not rolled down to the rural ops coordinators how they're actually going to do cuts and adjustments yet, which is part of the reason why they won't do any until after October.
And they know exactly everything that people are getting in the mail these days. I mean, we have the digital processing system for letters, and then you also have the mailers that are telling the Postal Service exactly which addresses are getting their flats, and then you also have the barcodes that tell you exactly the addresses are. Like you can tell with the load truck feature, although some people are having issues with it right now, it actually tells you the exact address that barcode goes to. You don't even have to have the address on the package anymore. Just the barcode, and you can tell where it goes.
Yep.
Yeah, you can look an address up by scanning the barcode. There's that feature too.
Yep.
Not even on the load truck. There's actually a lookup address.
Yep.
And
same
now,
with the barcodes on the letters.
Yep. Well, the SPM scans.
Yep. Those actually, that's what you used for your, if you're doing a move left no address on the scanner, you just scan the barcode on it and it inputs everything from the letter.
Yep.
Right there into the move left no address feature.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I have not used that one yet.
I've used it once. I should
try it out someday.
I've used it several times.
Yep.
Yeah, just take a piece of mail from the address, from the address you're doing, and just scan the little barcode at the bottom, and it populates everything. And then you just say, "Is this, individual or family?"
Yeah, and with that rural route optimization, they can tell exactly how many minutes each each address will put onto a route, so they can take a small section of a neighborhood or a business park, things like that, and cut it to another route and know exactly how many minutes it's going to add to the route. Something that a lot of people didn't know is that it's in the rural route optimization system. The measurements that we have for each mailbox will tell you exactly how much to cut. Of course, only management has access to that portion of it, but it's there.
Which kind of ties into what we also talked about Sunday, but we'll bring that back up this next Sunday when we cover resolutions. We kind of started that this past Sunday, but we instead of going a full 2 hours again tonight, we're going to divide that up, and next Sunday we'll get into the resolutions. And I know that was part of one of the resolutions James has, is when it comes to cutting routes and a carrier having more input on how a route is cut and what sections, because management does what they want to do and it doesn't make sense. Plain and simple.
And hopefully with this
carrier input.
It's a carrier suggestion. Right now it's a carrier suggestion, and they don't even have to listen to it. And honestly, they don't even listen to local management when local management suggests the cut. So the key here is, hopefully with this system, the rural route optimization and the line of travel manager, that'll take away a lot of that willy-nilly cut from over here and over there to make this route better or make this aux route and things like that. It'll be more linear and better overall for everybody. That's what I'm hoping. But the big thing we're talking about today is our evaluations and what it means to us. And I think to us, there's too many variables to answer the question straightforward and say, this is what's going to happen, this is why, or anything like that. And it's going to be on a route by route basis. Yeah. And until we have our full evaluations and we can look at the numbers and say, yeah, that sounds close to right. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be close.
Well, in the cover,
because we still,
and I think again,
I'm going to be in that 6%. It's not changing because I'm already a 48. So,
no, you're probably going to be the one that got 8+ hours added on, just so they can cut you down.
Maybe. Well, I have a very large company that will get anywhere from, and it shows up as the Mubuku mail, the MLO tray. So it's not actually my DPS. It comes into falls under the multi-point, which slides over, that total slides into the case mail column, which is raw letters. During just the 2 weeks of the mail survey, it was only about 1,500 pieces less than my DPS. So for the first, in previous counts, me and the supervisor that was doing accounting usually agreed, I get the tray from the clerk, I put it in my truck, I take it out, and I give it to the mailroom, and they sort it. He would give me a parcel credit before, which is fine. I'm like, okay, I'm not touching it, I'm not doing anything with it except for handing it off. Well, now I'm actually getting a piece count on it. And because they're closed on Saturdays, technically the 3-4 trays I may get Saturday, I could technically take unscanned parcel credits for each of those on Monday.
Yep.
So, which I haven't been, but I'm saying I could.
And you could.
I'm like, because I just wanted to make sure I was getting credit for what I was doing. I didn't want to double dose. But on the same note, I wanted to make sure I was actually
You getting a
getting
little
credit.
mumbled there, Josh.
Sorry, I was running down the stairs and probably I have the kid yelling at the house.
Gotcha.
I said I wanted to make sure I didn't want to double dip, but on the same note, I wanted to make sure I was actually getting credit for their mail in some capacity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yep.
So
basically,
Jumping to conclusions now is not going to help anybody.
no.
Nope.
No, because
Yeah,
we can't come to any conclusions because we don't have the information. We don't have the data.
Right.
It's not like previous mail counts where you counted everything in the office. You had your preliminary count in front of you before it was finalized, so you had an idea. Right now, everybody's in the dark, except for what we had of the mini mail survey, and that's as long as your office inputted it like they were supposed to. That, that's all we have is that little 6%. We have nothing
4%.
else.
4%. And if I remember, we were talking about that on Sunday. I said, realistically, 90% of the routes were set, even before the survey started, because this 4% of mail that they counted in the office, your the raw working mail, is not going to be enough to change. There's maybe 10% of the routes it'll be enough for that 1 or 2 minutes to put them over to the next evaluated hour.
Yep.
And I always also was saying parcels. You guys were talking about earlier, parcels, and they are staying the same or went up for the most part for people. Parcels, increase in parcels for the most part is not going to make enough of a difference to offset the loss of flats and letters. It'll help.
Unless you just picked up Amazon and you didn't have it before. That, where you're delivering an extra 50 or 100 parcels a day, is going to be a benefit. But if you're only delivering 10 or 12 more per day than the 2018 count, it's not going to make a difference. And if you're delivering a lot less than the 2018 count, it's going to make a huge difference.
It's going to make a difference, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is
But it's the flats have always raw flats, whether it be working out of a dispatch tub or the pre-sort bundles, have always been, as far back as I can remember, 10 to a minute. That's the one standard that has never changed over the years. That's realistically where the money's at right now. And as Bill was saying earlier on Sunday and earlier, his flats have dwindled down to like nothing.
1/10 of what he had before.
Right. My flats are down. Everyone's flats are down. Well, I get a decent amount of flats, but most of them go to that company.
And again,
most of it's return to sender stuff.
And that's also a route by route basis, because I know some routes, the mail volume for some routes is quite a bit more than the mail for volume for other routes. I mean, that's evident in just my office alone. Some routes are volumes heavier than others. But given we can't come to conclusions. We don't have the numbers. We don't know. It's like that part is, where do we go from here? Well, it's a waiting game.
Yep.
And you just do what you can to optimize your route to your benefit as honestly as you can. And that's the other side of this. This is finally a count where 90% of what's on the route is honest.
Mm-hmm.
There is no hiding mail. There is no holding flats back. There's no hiding mail in trailers at the plant or any of that stuff on this, because it's a 355-day count.
Work between different facilities.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to call you all out on this, okay? Because 90% of the route evaluation's honest because it's all automated. Are you talking about the automated system that the post office issued your back pay on? Or are you talking about the automation that was supposed to do the mini mail survey in September and couldn't produce the results, and then when they do it in March, February, March, they can't produce the results? Are you talking about that automated system? The automated
I'm
system
talking.
The radar reports are given to you, and you don't know if they're 2, 3, 4 days behind or 2 weeks behind when you actually receive those bundles systems. You're talking about the automated system that the United States Postal Service has the only eyes on, and we can't gain access to it. That's the 90% you're saying is honest?
No,
I'm sorry. I like being paranoid because for 4 years of active SOCOM duty, it kept me alive. And I'm telling you, there's bullshit in the wind when they can give you 66% of the routes are going down, but can't provide the numbers to the union. Bullshit.
And can't provide the numbers to the carriers, too. I mean,
And they can't provide the numbers to management.
Yeah.
Even management can't access those numbers.
When headquarters supposedly has all this information, yet they can't share it. Or won't share it.
I'm talking about if you wanted an honest count on this stuff, you're literally going to have to count every single piece of mail you have that comes through your route. You're going to have to sit there and count every single one of them, 365 days a year. Count every single one of them. Every day you work, count everything. You have your sub count everything on your day off. That's the only way to get a 100% honest evaluation. The 90% I'm talking about is not mail. You don't have, well, it kind of is. You don't have hidden mail at the plants anymore because it's not worth it for them to hide it anymore because it's going to come through the system one way or another, whether it's during the mini mail survey or outside of that. You don't have dishonest carriers keeping vacant homes on the route anymore.
Yes, you do.
Well, because the system is monitoring that as well and actually pinging management, telling them that, hey, this address hasn't gotten mail in the last 90 days. You have a system that's actually doing that, which is funny because it'll pull a vacant address as soon as it hits the 90th day. It'll tell them, hey, this address hasn't gotten mail in 90 days, but they can't tell us our numbers. You have management telling carriers that they can't punch in 1 minute before their start time. Yeah, which amazingly they can tell you exactly down to the second the time you clocked in at. Yeah, but they can't tell us our numbers.
But yet they want to give us all of our little messages on the scanner and videos prior to clocking in.
Yes, I think that should actually be moved to after you punch clock in, because now every union now has to use a scanner to clock in. Yep. Whether you be a clerk, a city carrier, or a rural carrier, you're clocking in on a scanner. So they should be able to reprogram it to put that stuff in right after you hit the clock in button. But no, you got to do it beforehand.
And actually, the city carriers have it as soon as they scan their badge, it automatically clocks in.
Which it should do for us too, but we'll not get into that.
That's because each union has their own set of programmers and they don't talk to each other.
Yeah, just like the management doesn't talk to the unions. But
or talk to each other.
Yeah.
I personally think Problem is,
The only thing they can do is they can go into these programs and actually physically change the numbers in the program itself. They have to literally log in and manually change these numbers because most of it is automated.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody touches it, nobody looks at it, nobody verifies it. It's completely automated. But we need that access to see what's going on with those numbers, and nobody's able to get in there because apparently these programmers were the cheapest they could hire, which is typical for government, and they probably didn't think far enough ahead to look at this and say, hey, look, we're going to have arguments over this, let's do this. So we have to sit here and we have to figure it out ourselves. And that's the hardest part of it all, because you have to figure out for an entire year all your numbers instead of just a 2-week period. And then trust that a computer is doing it the right way. And yet, if you have informed delivery, you've seen letters coming into your informed delivery that aren't even for your address.
I haven't had that yet.
I've seen it on my informed delivery, but it wasn't in the DPS for my route to my house.
You know, informed delivery isn't accurate to the day, right?
I know that, but I'm saying that the letter that I saw in my informed delivery never even made it into the DPS for the route that I was on, that I live on. Because I was actually the sub of record for my route to my house for a while there before I became regular. But we're supposed to trust a computer system built by humans to tell us how much money we're making. And that's the biggest thing that people have a problem with.
And regulated by the United States Postal Service.
And built by the cheapest contractors the government could find.
Yep.
Well, what I was saying is part of the problem with the numbers not being there or available yet is they didn't have the foresight to have them uploaded into the program on a daily or weekly basis prior to the survey. So now they're trying to upload 52 weeks worth of data for, 80,000, 85,000 routes at the same time.
Yeah.
81,600 and something. Depending on which chart you look at, 620 or 665. So.
Okay, so if that data, because if you look back with the old mail counts, yeah, you can get a preliminary number at the end of the 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, but it was 2 to 3 pay periods before you got the official numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That if they were, and if they actually start uploading this data on a daily, even weekly basis, come September, they potentially will be able to have it within, that week.
They could literally have it the day after. They could literally have it the day after it is approved, authorized at the office, if they did it right. You would literally know the day after the mini mail survey's over and your survey numbers are put in the computer. You would literally be able to know what your route's becoming right after that.
Right.
But they're not willing to do that.
Right. Hopefully, for future counts, they'll actually start doing that. So we won't have to go through the same BS every time.
And you also have to
to
remember this is a new system running on old.
This is the first time
on old computers, or the cheapest computers they could buy through a government program. So they don't have a lot of memory. They don't have a lot of processing speed or anything of that nature. It's not like the gaming computers you could go down to Best Buy and get. It's the cheapest professional computers they could find to make this work. So you're going to have problems, and then you have the programmers who are probably paid a lot less than what they're really worth to make this program happen.
On a system that has been worked on for 11 years. And when this was handed to us in arbitration, and when the engineers got together with the arbitration and they said this should be in place by 2015, and here we are in 2023, and it's still not in place, and not to mention all the reorganization we've had at headquarters, and all the original people not there, and all these other brand new, that nobody knows what the hell they're doing because they all had their thumbs up their asses for the 10 years to begin with. And now it's an even bigger cluster.
And everybody's saying these numbers benefit the post office, this and that. We had a previous count.
Mm-hmm.
We had previous numbers. If it would have actually benefited the post office, it would have been initialized immediately.
Yeah, I've been saying that all along.
And because you look at this and you look at these numbers, you look at the number of routes that we have and the number of carriers that we actually have registered in the union, both dues paying and non-dues paying, there's less carriers than there are routes. So it would benefit the post office to find a way to lower the number of routes, but at the same time, raise the pay for other carriers somehow. So there's got to be some give and take somewhere in this, and we've got to look at this in a positive light for ourselves. I know a lot of people are negative about it, but there can be a positive outcome that comes from this. And one of those is knowing how much volume each route has.
And I think a lot of that negativity comes out of the fear of the unknown because we don't know the data. And that's the fear of the unknown is where we're getting the negativity from. I myself am trying to be optimistic. As being, the only one really involved in anything union and being the local steward and, keeping up to date, everybody in my office comes to me about every little thing about it. And every day, I still get one that asks me, I don't know where she got the idea that we're supposed to get $150 pay or one-time thing. I don't know where she saw that. And then she was like, well, I went up this much on my yearly, but it's only like a few bucks a check. I said, that's your COLA.
That's your COLA. Yeah.
And, trying to explain that to her, that was, don't get me started on that. But, literally every... Yeah, I've got one other carrier who gets, he's got the app. And so when the thing came through Saturday, and so Monday, he calls me. He was already done with his route, and I was still on my aux route, still had to go finish the other full route. And he's like, did you hear? Yes, I already knew about it. I already knew about it. Yes, I know. And just, every little thing. And so, I walk into the office and that's hey. And then every other carrier stops to hear what's going on because they're clueless and have no clue what's going on. And then 3 more people are asking questions and I'm going, I don't know. I can't answer that for you. I don't have the data.
And that's one of the things we want to do here with this. That was why I came on with you guys, is because you guys are here trying to help give information to the masses about what's going on here. And the confusion that's going on, we need to have people sit together and go over this like this and say, hey, it may look bad right now, but there is a silver lining to everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And there is a reason why we are rural carriers. And that's because we love what we do. We love our people that we deliver to, and we love the job that we do.
And
we may not get along with management. We may not like what management is doing, but we like the job that we do.
And once we get out of that office, we're on our own. We enjoy being out there. It's like what I said at National Convention during caucuses at every one. We're family. We are all family. Does family argue and fight and not get along at times? Yes. But do we still have our families back? Absolutely. We are all brothers and sisters in this, and we all have to watch each other's backs.
Anybody that's listening to this, anybody, you have questions, you have concerns, comment, get a hold of us, go through our social media pages. We are more than happy to help.
And on that segue, I'm going to add that normally, we have been on Amazon Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We have our Discord channel. We have Facebook page. We have Facebook group. We have our email at UnitedWeScanPodcast@gmail. I just started an Instagram page. We are uploading stuff onto YouTube now, too. And we've also added Stitcher as well as iHeartRadio. So literally every podcast platform out there, just about. I think there's a couple smaller ones that I didn't get on quite yet. We are out there. You can message us anywhere. If you know who we are, you're friends with Facebooks. Most of us are in most of the social media groups in one capacity or another. Private message us. If we don't have an answer, if you have a question, if you want something brought up, but you want to do it anonymously, but you want us to talk about it, we won't give out who you are or where you're from. We can talk amongst it about with each other. Hey, we got a question about this. What's your input? If you don't have a local steward, you're newer, you don't know who your area or ADR or DRs are, or where to quite find that information, because maybe you're not getting a magazine yet, or for some reason, maybe the significant other or the kids or the dog tears it apart, eats it before you get a chance to look at it, and you want to know who you can contact, contact any one of us. We're spread out. I mean, James and I are in Michigan, Bill's in Pennsylvania, Mike's in Kansas, Josh is in South Carolina. North Carolina. He's in the Carolinas. Ben, who periodically comes in here with questions, he's out there too. And even if you know who he is and he may not have an answer, he can come to us. We can talk amongst ourselves and be like, oh yeah, and if one of us doesn't know, somebody might, or we can at least point you in that right direction on who to contact. So we're there to help.
It doesn't matter where you are in this country. We all do the same job.
Yep.
We all have the same contract.
Yep. That is true. We all have similar experiences. It's, we're there to help you. And this is our platform to be able to reach out to everybody. Because I know, especially with the leave replacement shortage, not everybody can get off to go to boosters or regional conferences or conventions and whatnot. And those of us that can go are lucky to be able to go. And so, that's another way to try and get, I know mid-states are coming up. James, myself, and of course Mike will be at mid-states. We'll report what we hear. I'm not going to put, I'm not scanning documents in and posting those, no. But I will report, yep, we heard this. That's coming secondhand.
Yeah,
we're not doing that. If there's certain information that somebody wants, sharing it privately is one thing, but sharing it publicly is another.
We'll get the information out that's important for carriers to know,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't discriminate. Whether you are dues paying or non-dues paying, you are our brother and sister. We care. And we're here for you guys.
And if that means showing them that, yes, there are people in the union that are active in the union that do care about you, maybe that can change somebody's mind to join or rejoin instead of getting out knowing, okay, there are people out there that are working for us.
And, you know, here's one important thing about this whole situation that we do. We do this for free.
Absolutely.
We don't get compensated for it. We're doing this for your benefit. So, you know, if we can invest this time in you, try investing a little time in yourself.
Absolutely.
Fellow brother and sister in the rural carrier craft. Show them this podcast. Spread the word. Let them know that they're not alone as a rural carrier. There are people out there that are willing to help and willing to reach out, willing to give answers beyond that of what you just hear through the grapevine.
And getting one side or another, you know, at least pointing you in the right direction on where to go to get those answers, or pointing you in that direction to get that person that will be able to help you. And if that person isn't helping you the way they should, where you should go above them, or who to direct to that we know will be able to help you, and will help you, I should say. That's what we are here for. We're not going to put anybody down. We're all about lifting up. We're all in this together. We're all in the same fight together. And on that note, I think we're going to wind it down since Josh is back, so I'll let him go ahead with his final commentary for the evening.
Like we've said in the past, make sure you're doing what available scans there are for you. As James said, honestly, you don't want to fudge your numbers. You don't want to try and pad your route. But if you honestly have one of those scans, take credit for it. If you're not familiar with them, like Bill has said in the past, read the cheat sheet, learn, get proficient in 2 or 3 of them, and then add another couple, until you're proficient with all of them. We'll all tell you that there's at least 1 or 2 that we all forget about when we're talking. It's like, oh, I could have been doing that. Like I said earlier, I keep forgetting about the 8 pieces for Holdman.
Postage dues are a big one for me.
If you're getting overwhelmed, take a step back, take a breath, step back in, try and have a good week.
Mike, go ahead with your finals for tonight.
I think I just want to go back to something we said earlier on. All of this is speculation right now until we have the hard numbers, which is supposed to come later this week. So, I know it's our pay, and I've always said no one should be more concerned about your pay than you are. But until Saturday, it's all just speculation. So let's stop. I won't say stop worrying, but there's not anything we can do about it at this point. Do the job right, and just know that you're doing the job right. I'm sorry, I'm not very focused tonight.
It's okay.
But have a good week, everyone, and just carry on.
James, we're happy to have you with us. I hope you continue to stay with us because I love having an additional voice. And what is your final input for this evening?
I appreciate you guys inviting me into this and letting me spill my guts about the thoughts I have on this stuff. But the biggest thing I can say on this is we're all in this together. We're all one craft. We're all one union. Dues paying or non-dues paying, you are our brother and sister in this. And yes, we're all worried about what our numbers are going to come back as, but we have three things going for us on this. One of them is we're resilient. We've gone through plenty mail counts where things have gone wrong. We've had plenty of grievances filed over this current system already. And the proof is in the pudding that our union management, as much as people hate on them, they're doing what they can with what they have available to them within the confines of the National Labor Relations Board and the available contractual arguments they can make on it. It's very hard to sit back and say, they've got this. But I'm saying they have a handle on this. Even though it may not look like it, that's the step 4 and the labor charge that they're putting on this is very, very important. And we need to understand that these numbers, although management's probably going to say they're final, are not final yet. Until we get through all of this, these numbers are not final. We have to stay calm, relaxed, and get through this together.
And Bill, what do you got for us tonight?
Oh, speculation, collaboration, conjecture, paranoia. Oh, that's my normal day. Yeah, I listened to the comments that are here and what the things on the Facebook carrier pages. I listen to the people at work, and the thing that strikes me about this whole situation is that we still can't trust the post office. Flat out. You can't trust somebody who won't give you the numbers, but yet they're going to tell you 66% of the routes are going down. But I'm sorry, folks. There's something fishy. I think that if most people are doing the jobs that they're supposed to do, they're doing the scans, they're doing the dismounts, and they're doing everything they're supposed to, that you're going to have a maybe, I would say a 2 to maybe 3 hour effect on your route. There are some routes that are going to go up because of growth, but in general, I think most routes are going to go down 2 to 3 hours, especially in my office, because we were artificially inflated when the FSS was removed from our office. And it's almost like a right correction type situation because of the fact that we should have never went up the hours we did when we got the FS removed from our office. But in reality, folks, after you get out on the street, it's the best job in the world. Except for when you're in Michigan and snow and wet and freezing. But
or super hot in the south.
Because of the customers, because of the kids, the dogs. I mean, it was it's the easiest job I ever had in my life until management tried to start managing. And it's still the best feeling in the world when I get out there and I start delivering and I see my people and, I watch my neighborhoods. I'm like a community cop for my route. And, when I lose a customer, it affects me. I've lost several close customers. When I see babies born or, a new dog in the yard or something, it's still the greatest feeling in the world to have a job like this. So with that said, don't let all of this, just chew you up. Okay. Let's ride the ride, see where it ends. And hopefully somewhere, somehow, somebody on the national board will grow enough balls to stand up and say, enough is enough. The step 4 was the very first time I've seen the national board react in a timely fashion to such an obscene situation as the post office has put forth. But it's not enough. So, with your state conventions coming up, your little siesta fiesta local meetings and everything, get your resolutions out there. Vote for the people who you want to go to the national convention and represent you, not just your state board people, not your ADRs or your area stewards or anybody else. Vote for the people who are going to go and speak for you. Because every convention we go to, it's just like the politics in Washington. It's corrupt. And these people vote themselves into office by giving people committee positions, paid vacations to go to national conventions every year. If I had a choice in this national convention, I would eliminate 90% of the retirees because they have no idea and no longer represent what the rural carriers are going through. We need active carriers to stand up. We need younger carriers to stand up and to get involved and participate in the union. So protect yourself, protect your wallet, protect your future and your family's future. What you put in the scanner is going to go into your wallet. Other than that, folks, go out there, be safe, be careful, watch out for each other, help each other, educate each other, correct each other. I mean, there's no problems telling carriers when they're doing something wrong. But most importantly, at the end of the day, get home because you're the most important delivery.
And on that note, with my finals, yes, we are all one. I don't care if you're table 1, table 2, an RCA, a PTF, or even an ARC. We're here for you. We're all in this together. And, we're reaching out to you, questions, comments, something you're not sure of, you can reach out to us. Like I said, multiple platforms. And on that note, next week we'll probably talk about if we see what our new evaluations will be. We'll probably start off with that, but next week we'll definitely be diving deep into resolutions. We've got a lot of good ideas that are coming through with just the few of us on here. If you have resolution ideas that you want to send to us to get them out there, please feel free to it. I know I'm going to reach out to a few and see if I can get some more additional ideas. And on that note, everybody take care, have a safe week, and we'll see you back next week.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Yes, subscribe.